It hurt me to hurt my people. But nigga, this is a necessary hurt that we all got to endure. We all got to be hurt, nigga, to get to where we got to be, nigga, to fix this shit. We all gonna get hurt, homie, in the process, nigga, of trying to. When you and your mama sit down and talk about y'all childhood and you tell your mama, I think this. When you tell your daddy, nigga, you left me, he go get hurt to try to fix that and mend that relationship. When you and your partner sort out y'all problems, nigga, yeah, nigga, if he tell you the truth about something. So this is where we are, my nigga, and trying to fix this shit and trying to find some kind of healing and trying to create some alternatives to tap into some resources. Nah, homie, we all go hurt to fix this.
Brothers and sisters in Islam, if the son
Welcome. Shame Sundays. How y'all doing? It's Sunday. Here with Mrs.SheSaid. Mrs.SheSaid is in the building. Harris Tribe Media Group with the He Said, She Said, Love and Abundance. I hope everybody is well. I'm back again for another Sunday with you all. Gonna take a minute, let everybody climb in, pop in. Please share, like, subscribe if you have not done it already. The love is appreciated. Going to be some sensitive subjects today, so get your hearts right and your minds open because we're going to discuss some stuff. Again, I hope everybody's well. Shout out to whoever's popping in. Knowledge and Relationships. How you doing, sir? Appreciate you popping in. Mr. He Said is in the building, of course, as usual. Much appreciated, sir. Your presence is calming, to say the least. For such a serious topic today. We're definitely going to be talking about indoctrination versus education when it comes to our youth. The system is totally broken, needs to be revamped, and it's going to take a lot. And it's really going to take a lot from us parents. Full inclusion. You definitely need to encourage that, influence it, model it, because there's so much going on in the schools that we are not aware, as well as our own homes and within our families. And we all need to be very proactive when it comes to our children. It's been many, many years of grooming that I'm sure most people are not aware of. And it's amazing how upfront and in our face it's thrown and shown, and there's no shame. There's no shame when it comes to preferences. There's no shame. And a lot of this began with a doctor. Sure, many of you may not have heard of Dr. Alfred Kinsey. We're here in Baltimore, Maryland, so there is a Kinsey Institute here, but it began in Indiana, the first one, back in the 1950s. Dr. Alfred Kinsey. There is a movie starring Liam Neeson that was brought out in 2004? It's about 2004. You guys can check it out. We watched it last night, actually. Interesting to say the least. Just to imagine, to give this man a movie behind his scientific research that involved children and sexuality. Understandable. A lot of, information and knowledge we may not have gotten, but to use children is deplorable. And these children grow up. So just have a look at that. There's many documentaries about this man, some pros, many cons. And it's taught, when you're going to get an education to teach children, early childhood instruction, early childhood education, anything dealing in education. As far as theorists, you may encounter a teacher who may expose you to Dr. Alfred Kinsey. He was a professor of entomology and zoology and sexology, to say the least. Again, his research consisted of many different groups of people, ethnicities. A lot had to do with children, again. And this is way back in the he was born in the 1800s, so his studies began in the early 1900s to he died in 1956, and he had a lot to do with influencing and taking away the shame from the preference of pedophilia and pedophiles who prefer young children. That's what I get from it. It's amazing. So when you guys get a chance, do a little research and check out this gentleman. Shout out to the Ruthless Media. I appreciate you, sir, for popping in. How you doing? Shame Sundays. We're here talking about the sad grooming of pedophilia and the looking for them to be accepted and full inclusion for their preferences, which is something that's happening behind the scenes. It's being discussed in many of your town halls and city councils and government councils. The information is called MAPS. They actually have an acronym, if you're not aware, MAPS, and it stands for Minor Attracted Persons. Do some research. It's become a commonly known term used in global sex offender research and sex offender treatment communities. And I say this, MAPS is defined specifically, pedophile, an individual attracted to a prepubescent child, a hebephile, an individual attracted to a pubescent child 11 through 14, and a hephabophile, okay, an individual attracted to post-pubescent child. So there's levels to it. And they've been trying to understand. Again, our children are being affected by many of these things. The shame I'm bringing today is, we need to be more aware. I think social media and the attention that we all look for and thrive off is going to affect our children in the long run. I see a lot of posting of your babies with they twerking and twisting, and these such things are shameful. You need to pull back a little bit. Again, they are children, and assume that they're happy and they are giving consent now I don't know if they're going to feel the same later. They are children. We make these assumptions that they are, capable of giving consent in certain manners, but when it comes to other manners, they're not. So as parents need to be a little bit more diligent and responsible with our young people. There's so many things that we can expose them to, but being attention whores is not one, in my opinion. The likes they are thriving off, they're 5, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No. Education should be much more important. And I don't think they're getting much from posting TikToks. Now, if we're teaching them how to code, then that's something different. But that's not what we're seeing. This here USA, we promote stupidity, toxicity. These things are not for our children. And then they grow up and they're hypersexed, spitting out babies that they don't want, don't know how to take care of, and we're supporting it. Shame on you. Shame on you. Peace to Wally. Hey, Wally. How you doing, sir? I appreciate you popping in the building. Throwing a little shame. We got to be a little bit more responsible of our children. The media, TV, cartoons, school, the books. Monitor what the teachers are putting on them shelves, because there's some grooming books out there that are giving them way more information than their little minds can handle and compartmentalize and put it in a reality for them. And you don't know what kind of teachers you have teaching your children. Especially if you're not vetting them. Ruthless Media chimed in. He said, the crazy thing is the parents are promoting it. That's why we're here. That's why I'm here. Stop. Are you guys expecting your children to blow up overnight or something because they're cute? They can do a dance that thousands and thousands of other children are doing? Show how far they are getting in reading and math. Let's start making that a viral TikTok. Because we're bringing up little idiots who are lazy, dependent, entitled. I think they deserve phones at 10. Deserve them. We create that dynamic. We create it. Hold yourself accountable for how you're parenting and allowing your children to be exposed to this social media, because it can backfire on you. Are you ready? Are you prepared for that? How will you handle that? Because our children are being affected. So it's showing me that we're not being as responsible as we should and as we could. We choose to bring them here. It's our responsibility. We hand it over to everybody, the babysitter, the government, the school, all types of activities that you know not what's really going on is if you're not present. The first thing you do when you move somewhere is check the sex offender registry. It's so simple. We have these tools. You go on, you put your zip code in, and it comes up. And you can pick the radius that you want, the town that you want, and you can find out, at least the ones who are registered. And there's different levels to it. It's tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. So let me tell you, from a young parent at 23, it was very important for me to make that my purpose, to protect my children from that. because I know that it existed within my family, within many of women and young boys that I know and grew up with. It exists. It happens. And it happens when you're not present. I'd rather be over present than not present enough, because it leaves them susceptible to any and everybody, exposing them to any and everything, even children. Hey, sis, Red Lipstick Vibes podcast is in the building, where the vibe is always positive. How you doing, sis? I hope all is well. Sending love and light to you, Caleb and Pops. OG, sending love. Yeah, so, I need us to be a little bit more responsible in 2023. That limelight, that, attention whore mentality really needs to be, pushed down. It really does. Because these children grow up very fast. Very fast. 25 years went by really quickly. 27, 22, 17, and 8. It's a lot of years of protecting. It's a lot of years of vetting schools, vetting their teachers, their classmates parents, the cheerleading coach. Intentional. Because I'm fully aware of the effects of it, of our children being hurt by these pedophiles, these people who prefer children. You have to take a proactive lead when it comes to them and this type of situation. Any information about sex, sexuality, identity, they need to get from home. We need to start educating ourselves, because if not, the world is going to do it for us as early as first grade. As early as first grade, we're being very ignorant to what's happening in our society. Ignorance is not bliss when it comes to our children, because then we want to be reactive when something happens, when many things could be prevented. Especially if you've been through this. Your family has been through this. Your friends have been through this. Know that it can happen. It can happen to you. It can happen to your children. So exposing them in this way is shameful, to say the least. Not only do I want to protect mine, I want to protect yours as well. And I need you to be mindful about what you're doing and what you're creating. We're already addicted to the social media. Our children are coming up behind us. At least let them, do some STEM, some science, some programming. We're teaching them to take these pictures, click, click, boop, boop, post it. Let me see how many I got. I don't know if it's going to be beneficial for them. Everybody is not a damn supermodel. You're not that damn cute. Go sit down somewhere. Read a book. We got to be more present. Many things happen right under our watch. And at times our children tell us. And nothing. It's a lot of little people out here, grown people hurting because nobody did nothing. What do you think? What do you think we need to do? Solutions to a lot of it. Let's talk about it. Parents need to be a little bit more assertive. Take your role back. Make rules in your house. Have standards. And if they get out of line, there are consequences. Phones, social media access should be earned. And it depends on their mentality, how smart they are. Can they comprehend what's going on? Are you having dialect with what they're seeing? Be their first advocate. Have their best interests at heart. Vet all the people they're around. When you choose a school, you vet that principal. You vet those counselors. You vet the aides that's in the hallway. And it takes a lot of kindness to vet people You can't just go in and be demanding shit with a funky ass attitude. Your children need to see you model this cooperation with these people, because they're going to know, yeah, that's when we can't mess with that child. These pedophiles know what children to choose, what children to groom. They know you're not present. The more present you are, the less chances and opportunities there are for your children to be affected.
Jesus Christ.
It's not just men, women as well. This is the ignorance of many of us, women as well. Hear me clearly, women as well. It's not looked at the same, but they exist. There's many women who groom children. If not for them, for others. It's your responsibility to protect them. Yeah. I'm gonna give y'all a second, because it's gonna get a little knowledgeable, give you some information and a little bit of shame. So please share. Much appreciated.
Subscribe to Harris Tribe Media Group on YouTube.
Yeah. Again, today is Shame Sunday. Talking about indoctrination versus education. The society and the media of grooming our children. And we play a part in it. So we need to pull back a little bit. Becomes an addiction, it is. It's kind of hard for our children to pull back on their own. It takes a lot of discipline, and they don't have it. They don't have it. Many of us don't have it. So it shows we definitely need to begin to, start to discipline ourselves just a little bit more. I got a couple videos. The information is out there. It's being talked about in many different places. So just open your ears and eyes to your community and what's happening in it, because there's city town hall meetings that's happening, discussing it, the inappropriateness that's happening in the schools, books, literature, all of it. So please have a listen. Yeah, we're going to get it all set up for you and ready. Shout out to everybody for checking in. Shout out to Knowledge and Relationships for popping back in. I appreciate you, sir. Hope you're doing well. Hope the new year is, coming together for everybody. Again, try to move in kindness and you get more results. You get better results, to say the least. I'm ready. Y'all ready? My video.
Children are exposed to education if their parents are wise and healthy, i.e. if their parents are wise men and wise women, children get educated. If they're not, they get indoctrinated. There's a big difference. Our education system teaches people what to think, not how to think. If you study the history of our education system, Ken Wilber goes into this quite deeply if you want a resource. Our education system is still the exact system that was developed by warlords and plantation owners to control slaves. It was developed specifically to keep the kids busy so they could get more works out of the slaves, more hours out of them, and to train the children not to be creative, not to think for themselves, and to follow orders. That is exactly what your education system is today. And
That's a damn shame. The same education system from back in slavery times, you guys. And we fought for the inclusion. We fought for the inclusion. So we can go off and work and do whatever we want. So I think, the more and more you're not around your children, the more and more it's okay to not be around your children, or you think that it's okay and that they're thriving. And that's not usually the case. Indoctrination is something, the process of teaching a person or a group to accept a set of beliefs uncritically. And education, the process of receiving or giving systematic instruction, especially at a school or a university. It's an enlightening experience when you're getting educated versus indoctrinated. And this is what's happening. I just look at it like I vividly remember school, from kindergarten all the way to high school. I remember it. I remember a lot of experiences, the exposure, and a lot of exposure comes from us children with children. That's fine. But when it comes to adults with children, no, these children cannot consent. B9 is in the building. How you doing, brother? Happy Sunday. You are missed. Hope all is well with you and the family. Yes, we talking about it today, man. The grooming of our children, indoctrination versus education. It's sad how social media has got us so consumed with likes and being an attention whore, versus when we choose to have children and they drop their 10 toes, 10 fingers on this ground. It's cute when they little. It takes a lot. It takes a lot to build them up to be adults. And ain't nobody perfect. There's no, perfect blueprint. But it's a lot of things in this world and society and this media that we have to protect them from. And it's our job. And once you choose to be a parent, it's your first job. Sorry. Everything needs to take a fucking back seat. Because their safety, their mentality, their emotional well-being is of the most importance. And when we create this dynamic of it's okay to floss and flash our children on social media, little babies twerking and carrying on, it's a bit much when we know it's people out there who prefer them. So you're giving them free porn. You're giving them exposure. You may not look at it like that, but they do. It's the simplest, littlest of things, the tenderness of things, the innocence of it. Because when I look at it and I see the thousands and thousands of likes, then I go to look at the shares and the saves of your children's media, should be a little disgusted. Do you think one of those are a promoter and they're going to snatch your child up and say, here, let's get this reality show or a modeling gig or something? No. Do it the right way. Go get them photo shots and, go to these modeling agencies and do it that way. Everybody wants instant gratification. But our children are going to be hurt in the long run. Like we've seen it. I don't think I've really ever had a conversation with many grown women and they did not get hurt in some type of way sexually when they were a child. And you think it's easy to just get past, throw it under, forget, just, heal. It's not. It's not. And the most of us who know this and are aware of it, we need to be proactive. We need to be proactive, more proactive. Because now it's just so easy to get access to our children. Even the little shows you watch on YouTube, you better pay attention to what they watching. Pay attention. They were doing it with us. Warner Brothers. Come on. The skunk. He was obsessed. The little chicken. She was obsessed with the rooster. Come on now. It's even more upfront and in their face. So it's our job to be very diligent. Got the pleasantries going on in the chat. I appreciate y'all being here. It's a serious subject. And we need to get more serious. There's a way to do it. Say no. Say no to these kids. They be all right. They'll cry, have a fit, all of that. Say no. Start being passive and allowing them to just do what they want. Listen, you got little people under 10 deleting their parents because they're not getting what they want. That's something that used to happen in the Caucasian community. They're going to burn down their whole family house because, pops ain't do what they want, or mom, whatever the case may be. I'm sure it's more in-depth stories to that, but we know the story. It's trickling over us. Our kids are entitled and privileged as hell. They want to take our life because you tell them no. No, this is not okay. We're seeing it. Don't think it can't happen to you. We out of control and the kids are out of control. I got another video for y'all. When I say vet the schools, I was one of them parents. I want to see what's on your bookshelf because we have an abundance of books. So when they got to school, I wanted to see if, the books mimicked what we had, so they don't repetitively read the same books. Of course, I want to take some books home and exchange and things like that. Always innocence. I've never seen anything, that I felt was, out of pocket or inappropriate. So to know that there's literature now in these spaces with our children, it's unacceptable. So you guys need to be a little bit more diligent and, vet the teachers because they put these books on their shelves and you don't know what kind of teacher your child has. Everybody does not have your child's best interest at heart, especially for no $15 an hour and ungrateful, inconsiderate ass parents. Like, we create some dynamics when it comes to the people who are around our children. They need help too. It's not easy to be a teacher. So knowing that, be proactive. It creates a better dynamic for your children. They see that communication, they see that relationship and mutual respect. So when they do get out of line, if the teacher was to say, I'm going to call your parent, they'll see, yeah, okay. They got a cool relationship. So, I may get some consequences behind this behavior. So let me check it. I appreciate my mom. She had to step up a lot. Now, we was not the best of little kids, latchkey kids. But when she had to come to the school, she made her presence known. They knew Miss Hardy. And she had to work a lot. And there was no extra parent. So you guys can do it. Be proactive. Go do a surgery game. Downloaded some simulated surgery games for my 8-year-old. So when she gets on her Kindle, these are the kind of things that, I want her to learn or be exposed to. Versus just watching other little kids play with toys and slime and sloop, Nah. I got to feed her brain with as much as possible because I'm not guaranteed every day. None of us are guaranteed to be here. All right. I want y'all to see some of the literature. So I've been coming across, of course, your feed, kind of goes off of the things that you regularly see and look for. So I'm always interested in what's going on in the schools. So I'm finding these city halls where people are fighting because they're finding all kinds of inappropriate sexual literature in elementary school and middle schools with our children. And, to have to sit in front of a board of ed and fight to get these things off, the shelves is amazing. I'm one of the parents, I would have just took it off the shelf. I would have just took it off, So we're going to go through the classrooms. Let's get a group of parents. We're going to go through the classrooms and we're going to investigate these books and we're going to take them off the shelf. No Child Left Behind means full inclusion to parents. That means you are the advocate. And we have the right. Just know that. They make it seem like you don't, but you do. If literature is inappropriate, it's our job to make sure we let them know. So I'm going to pull up this video real quick. Let y'all have a look. Tell me what you think.
Right? Okay. It's perfectly normal for 10 years and up. Here's just one page I want you to see here.
For 10 and up, huh?
It's unspeakable what these people have done to our children.
When did that start? When was it decided that we need to start teaching kids about this stuff at such a young age?
So I'll answer that with one word: Kinsey. Kinsey was a social reformer. He wanted to rid society of Judeo-Christian values when it came to sexuality. And he worked very hard to do that, and I would say he succeeded.
Kinsey would be very happy with our culture today. His idea was that children are sexual from birth, that we're all inherently sexual creatures from cradle to grave. He believed that true happiness is found in a life of perverse sexual experimentation, no matter the age.
What came out is that his research was fraudulent.
Kinsey based his fraudulent conclusions on data he collected from convicted sex offenders and child molesters. His research was conducted in prisons, not everyday America. He also performed horrific sexual experiments on children, some under the age of 1. His most influential book, Sexual Behavior in the Human Male, contains an infamous chart called Table 34, which documents the orgasms of very young kids, including babies as young as 5 months old. But instead of suffering the consequences for his heinous actions, he was and still is celebrated by academia and Hollywood. His ideas form the foundation for sexual education in public schools today. How do we get from this to you can choose your own gender?
Okay, well now we have another very important character, and his name was John Money.
John Money was a psychologist and professor at Johns Hopkins University. Gender ideology was his brainchild. In fact, he coined the terms gender identity and gender roles. And according to Money, babies are gender neutral at birth, and ultimately environment determines whether a person is a man or a woman.
Money was telling the world about his theory that a boy could be raised as a girl and do just fine, and vice versa.
And so Money tried out his theory on 2 young twin boys, the Reimer twins.
When the twins were 8 months old, and they went to be circumcised, the first twin, whose name was Bruce, something went wrong with the machinery, and his penis was burnt off. They stopped and didn't do a second circumcision on the other twin, as you might imagine. And the parents, of course, didn't know what to do. How are they going to raise this child?
John Money convinced Bruce's parents to transition him into a girl. Money also conducted sexually abusive experiments on the twins throughout their childhood, including forcing them to simulate sex acts on each other.
He reported up to the age of 10 that this was a complete success. Well,
yeah, complete success? No. Didn't turn out that way. I'm going to finish the video, but a botched circumcision. So we botched it. Instead of letting them, grow up with a botched penis, we'll change them to a girl. Force them to live a life as a female. I watched that documentary of them twins, a couple years back. And it's amazing, the science that they are doing to our children. And a lot of us parents allow it. We want to finish this video.
it wasn't true.
The results were a disaster. Bruce could never fully accept his female identity. Eventually, his parents told him the truth, and he chose to transition back to a boy, taking the name David. As an adult, David spoke out about the abuse and the damage done to him by John Money.
The girls would do their things with their Barbies and things like that, and that wouldn't interest me.
Mm-hmm.
And things such as trucks and building forts and, getting to the odd fist fight and climbing trees. That's the kind of stuff that I like, but it was unacceptable. So I'd never...
As a girl?
As a girl, I had no place to fit in.
The trauma that he and his brother and his entire family went through left deep scars. His brother died of an overdose when he was 38, and then David committed suicide.
There was never a retraction or an apology from John Money. Instead, his ideas were adopted by mainstream psychology, and they form the basis of gender ideology today. Why don't more people know about John Money and Alfred Kinsey?
Evidently, there are forces that don't want this information out.
I never fit. I was an alpha female, a sales executive that kind of just didn't fit in any box.
I know that was a lot to take in, especially if, you've never seen or heard of any of these gentlemen. John Money, he's one of the founders of John Hopkins Institute that's dealing with sexuality, transgender, community advocacy, any of that. He's the man. So they've been studying, these a lot of study medical hospitals, right? So they've been doing a lot of studying. Imagine the children that's hand over to the system. It's been a lot. But those two young gentlemen, twins, God rest their soul, they didn't have a chance dealing with these monsters. It's a shame. From their studies and there's no retraction, like no debate. It's like when I see the trans community, they promote these monsters, like they have an inclusion, to some degree, but I look at the hurt that was caused, these children, these babies who were used as science labs. You guys are okay with that? It's amazing. God rest those twins' soul. So be careful with these circumcisions with your children. Death Mage is in the building. Hey, you doing, love? I hope all is well. Yes. It's a mass world. It's crazy. It is. They out here evil. Pushing evil. I agree. Yeah, don't stop there. So pay attention to the books that's in the school. These books are real. So many perverted ass children books out there. You wouldn't believe. All I heard was women started this. Women weren't against it. The latter of it was the free love era, that the late 60s and 70s, it was rampant, by that time, because his literature was out, and okay, it is people who, have these crazy things they want to do, but it's not something that we teach to these young people, at least teach them about the science of their body. They get a few biology classes and they think they know, but still eat like pigs and think their body's not going to respond. So I don't think they're really that intelligent, to really be indoctrinated with literature about sexuality and such, when they don't even know the biology, the scientific anatomy of their own damn body. You talk about the stomach, they hold down at their abdomen when the stomach sits right up under your ribs. So, but not that they don't comprehend as much as we think they do. But I got some more. I could be here all day exposing you to what's happening. This next video, I'm gonna cut it up. She's kind of long-winded, but it is an awesome reflection. A young lady named Blake Lively. She gives you a very vivid statement about child pornography. So We're going to have a listen to her. And y'all let me know what y'all think.
Know what child pornography was. You know, we all sort of have an idea of it, and I was afraid to ask as a mother, you know, because it would be very painful to hear. And I felt like I had to ask, though, and I feel like I have to share it with you guys now. And it is disturbing, and I want to warn you, but I feel it's my responsibility to tell you guys because it is the truth. And I believe if we all knew this, we would dedicate much more of ourselves to stopping it. So when I asked what child pornography entailed, yes, it's nude images of boys and girls under the age of 18. But now, because of high-speed internet, it's also videos very prominently. And videos of kids, and by kids I mean prepubescent, visibly prepubescent. And they make the distinction because of the internet and there's so much content, these pedophiles are desensitized. Because of that, the kids are getting younger and the content is getting that much more devastating. So when this law enforcement officer told me this, I asked him how young are the young kids he's seeing. And he told me infants. And I have a 6-month-old baby. So I said, what does that mean? You know, like what does an infant mean? And he said, with the umbilical cord still attached.
What does an infant mean? Infant, 0 to 12 months. 0 to 12 months. So this officer let her know that as young as the placenta being still attached. Do we not agree that castration, to some degree, should be a form of punishment when they are jailed, convicted? Whack it off. You mishandled it very inappropriately. Just my opinion.
I know it's so devastating to hear this, and I'm really sorry to share this, but I'm grateful that you guys are listening because this is actually happening, and it's important that we know this and that it resonates with us so that we think about this in our days and in our personal life. So I asked them what happens in these videos, and you know, unspeakable things happen, but I'm again going to speak about them because I feel like if these kids are experiencing this, the least that they deserve is for us to hear what is actually happening to them. So no, it's not just touching. There is penetration. There is extreme torture and bondage. There's bestiality, which is having an animal penetrate the child or infant. There is incest. I mean, they said you think of it, anything you could think of, it's out there and it's being traded, and it's 30 to 50 million files a day being traded that we know of. I mean, you can see what's happening right now. And this is happening to any child and every child. You know, 90% of children know their abusers. So, you know, our children are at risk. You may know this person. It may be a doctor. It may be a coach. You know, I thought that people that were working with children were people that wanted to protect them.
Yes, we do, right? We think all the people that work with the children are there to protect them.
This person may be a doctor, it may be a coach. You know, I thought that people that were working with children were people that wanted to protect them, but oftentimes these people who have this propensity for wanting to lure children, and they find out a profession that gives them access to children and lots of them. And ideal victims are young children because they can't speak up and they don't make great witnesses. If they do, only 10% of children actually do speak up once they've been abused. So what's incredible about the Child Rescue Coalition is that they are proactive. They don't wait for these children to speak up. They can identify these pedophiles. They can see the IP address that's trading this child pornography. They don't know, there's no privacy issues, there's no big brothering. They see the IP address of who's trading these files, and they give that to law enforcement. And the
So there are child protective coalitions out there following your IP addresses. So be mindful of what you are looking at through your technology, okay? Because they're going to start policing this, and they will come a knocking at your door. Shame on y'all.
That's trading this child pornography. They don't know, there's no privacy issues, there's no big brothering. They see the IP address of who's trading these files, and they give that to law enforcement. And the trading of these files is a felony, so law enforcement can knock on that person's door and see if that person has access to a child, because the average abuser abuses between 50 and 100 children in their lifetime. Per person, per abuser. And the average person that views child pornography, between 55 and 90% of people viewing it are actually hands-on abusers or will become abusers. And you know, you think that sounds like a lot, 50 to 100, maybe that's unrealistic, but the kids age out of the age that they stay silent, or they age out of the sexual preference of the predator. And I was told the story of an oncologist, a pediatric oncologist, who was raping his children with cancer by the hundreds. And there was a nurse who was working with children with mental and physical disabilities. And when he was caught, they asked him how many children he abused. And he looked outside the window at the snow and said, "How many snowflakes are there outside?"
Take a moment, man. That was a lot of information. You know, and I have to say, as a mother, like she said, you know, she got a 6-month-old. I felt like that from the instant that I found out I was pregnant. This is a being that I'm going to have to protect, because I even that young, I was fully aware of what's out there, what could happen, and I never want my children to have to experience that. So, you know, choosing to be home more and not live the lavish life and not always have our bank accounts full to capacity or whatever the case may be, you know, it was a toss up for me. And, you know, when I look back, I can never say, you know, I regret spending as much time with our children as we have, you know, being in close vicinity, because, you know, things like this, you can't take back. There's no coming back from that. It's always going to be. I got my sis in the building. Definitely. That's right. Shaking my head. Definitely. See if I
Hey,
get
hey,
you.
hey.
Yeah. Right.
It's me. It's me.
Is that Petty Red? Hold up, y'all. I got Petty Red in. Red Lipstick Vibes is in the building. How you doing, sis?
Hey, hey, hey.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Did you get a chance to see that video?
I'm getting sound effects or something.
You got some sound effects? I hear you. You sound like you in the water.
I don't know.
You sound clear. It just sounds like you got a fan on or something. It's not bad or, you know, interruptive or anything. Can you hear me? Oh. Okay. Make sure she's good. Her volume's up. Petty Red is in the building. But yeah, that video was something unique to absorb, you know. So that was a lot of information. There you go. I hear you. I hear you too.
Okay, cool beans.
Yeah. You good.
Okay.
Welcome. Happy Sunday and Shame Sunday. Talking about some stuff had me in tears while she was talking for a minute. It's a lot to take in. That's a lot to absorb, what's been happening to, you know, our young people. Because these young people grow up, sending love and light to everybody who has been affected, at the hands of someone else. I'm sorry, because it happens more than we think. Like I said, vetting everybody. She said an oncologist who cared for children with cancer, repeatedly raped his patients. And we know here, close to us in the DC area, there was a woman who went to her husband's hotel room and shot him because she ran a daycare, and she found out that he was being inappropriate with the children in her care. And she did not agree with it. So she went and tried to delete him. So, we really have to be more mindful, because these are traumas that will affect them till the end of their days. And we don't know how it's going to affect them. Sis is in the building. She keeping me company. Appreciate you being here. But guess what? I got another video. We're going to keep it moving. I'm not sure if sis is hearing everything clearly. Again, I keep speaking of parent involvement. It's needed. It's needed. Your presence needs to be known within these schools. And I think we parents need to get to a point of advocating for ourselves with our workforce, these companies, having some consideration that, two parents need to work and we need to raise our children as well. Some considerations need to be there. Advocate and fight for daycare within the work building. You have a lot of telecommunication firms, these firms that have these big old buildings. They can take one floor and dedicate it to some type of facility for the children. They have a lot of money. It's a write-off. And if us parents, working parents, fought for it, I'm sure you may get some results. But you have to put up a fight first. You have to say it's needed. You have to say we're concerned for our children. You have to say these things, because all they're going to do is take a chunk out your check for the expense. Either way, they're winning, because there's less for you to be worried about. You're going to come to work ready to work. Your children are close by if needed. Like it's a lot to that. So there's ways to, create solutions for these things. But us parents first got to speak up. And the elders at the firms, they know they missed out on their children. Their children may have even said, you missed out because you were working all the time. And understandable. A lot of them understand that, but it still doesn't negate the fact that you missed out. You weren't present. And it's something that's needed. Our children need that. Your presence. So to fight for these corporations to think they don't care, they're going to understand, but you have to put out the fight first. We have made many things happen, ladies. We have made many things happen. Full inclusions to a lot of things have been walked the path by a lot of women. Now it's time for us to care more about our damn children, because it's out of control and we need to be more involved. And I know you guys want to be successful and have these careers and all that shit, but our children, their success is more important than our success, right? Legacy, that's just how I see it, me personally. Red, I'm sorry, sis. I don't know what the connection is off the sound. I think this was a news brief. Let me take her off.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah. I was hearing you before. It just kind of like, you might have had a fan on.
Yeah.
All right, let me remove this. How you doing? Can you hear me good now?
I'm good, but I don't know. I don't know what that sound is, but it's weird.
Oh, you hearing the sound? Because I don't hear nothing now.
It sounds like.
Oh. Nope.
It's like every time I sign in, it's like this orchestra sound or something. I don't know. It's weird, but I'm here.
Oh, Lord.
Okay.
Maybe that's something that lets me know it should have been a doorbell or something.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? That's probably what it is.
Okay. Because I didn't hear it. But you sound good. Sounds good to me. Y'all sound good?
I know I've heard like every time I signed on, it was like, yeah. I hear you real good. Everything.
Okay. I'm about to play this video. What did you think of that last video with Blake Lively?
That I didn't see because I was trying to
come in. Yeah, it's a long
I was having
video.
a hard time getting in.
Yeah, it's a long video. She was just talking to a group of people about, you know, the information she got from asking officers about the children who have been, you know, affected by, you know, being molested, you know, by people, you know, and how early, you know, and she even said that there's been incidents where babies were still connected to the placenta.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, I've been hearing horrible stories since I was a little kid, you know, so it's always been up front, you know, so just for her to say what she said, like, it was bringing me to tears. It was hard for me to listen again, and I've watched it multiple times, you know, because it happens, and I don't know if we're just desensitized to it, even the ones with generational molestation. You understand what I'm saying? It's like it's happened, and I don't know, but I've always been a fighter for it, like against it. We gotta, you know, make sure it doesn't happen, you know. Maybe because I was so aware as a child, but what do you think, sis? Petty Red, you still there? I don't know, y'all. I think we keep losing my sister, man. This is not good. But I'm gonna play this while we see if you come back. Hopefully you can hear it.
Take this power back. We need more parents to speak up, like my next guest. Here's her response when she found out what kind of book was in her 7th grader's classroom. Watch.
I'm going to read from Chapter 9, The Ins and Outs of Gay Sex, starting at page 201, Part 1, Boy on Boy Sex. Perhaps the most important skill you will master as a gay or bi man is a timeless classic. Good news is you can practice it on yourself. Any teacher that puts material like this on his or her bookshelf is either a bad teacher or a pedophile who grooms children. 2 minutes are up. Thank you. We will vote you out November 8th. You are not leaders. I'm not.
Christy Wade and Brooke Weiss are parents with the group Moms for Liberty. So, Christy, what did this school board say when you read that graphic material from a book that was in the class?
Well, they actually didn't say anything. In fact, the chair chimed in saying that she wasn't even on the ballot for this election, which is essentially shirking all accountability for their actions. And they just don't care, quite honestly. And
They simply just don't care. Were you able to see the video? It keep freezing on your side? Okay. I don't know what's going on. I'm still glad you're here though. Yeah, pay attention to these teachers. Make sure you know what's going on in these classrooms. Pop up. Because there's some schools that, you know, don't allow access. And parents go for that crap. You know? It's getting to that point. You know, you stay your ass right here in this little office. We'll send somebody to go get your child and do all of this and all of that. Never know what's happening along that walk. Who's going to get your child? And we just supposed to be okay with it. And we do it. We acquiesce to them like they the police and stuff. We need to take our children back. You need to let them know you in charge of this. All these schools get a check per head. Per head. That's city money. You paying for that. We're paying for their education. So we're paying for their safety. We're paying for you to protect them. But that's not what's happening. Our children are still being hurt. It's still happening. 30 years later, I think we were a little more safer when we was kids. It's like out of control now. Everybody is desensitized. Or nobody cares. Nobody is, being proactive. Just when it happens. I feel for the young people because they're growing up with this, idea that nobody cares. It's a lot of instances when things happen and nothing happens. And to you guys, I'm sorry. Amazing. All right, sis. I don't know what's going on back there.
I don't know, sis.
You have to send a little support text. Tell them they keep having you chop up. But you see that? All these books and things just sitting in the classroom for these children to read and be exposed to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, because you've always been, fully involved in Caleb's education and who's around him, and but it's so many of us that are not. We're not. I know sis would agree. She's getting chopped up back there. I'm sorry, Evie Mux. Deaf Mage chimed in. Seems like no accountability all around from either side. Absolutely, sitting in a town hall and the lady is just saying, I'm not up for ballot. But if you're planning to be up for ballot, bitch, you need to be listening to what the hell I'm saying. That's the crazy shit. Like, you're being held accountable now. Doesn't matter. Do you hear what I'm saying? Deflecting, lack of accountability. But if it was her child, this is where we are. If it affects you directly, this is when you're mad and when you're upset and you want to do something about it. But you need to be around, right? So if we were around, it would be less bullying, less negative influence, because we're there. The kids know that they're there. And I turn this corner, Mr. Johnson going to be right around that corner. It was always eyes and ears, Teachers were allowed to snatch us up to some degree. I don't remember ever really being abused or anything like that in school, spanked or nothing, but it was just a level of respect, And some kids grow up with that amount of, respect for authority that it allows them to get caught up. Someone can prey on that naivety, lack of consent, just not being aware. We the first teachers. Last week, Sunday, I did a whole stream of vaginal health and reproduction. I will be doing one for the gentleman. I'm going to pull up some information because it's a lot of things that we don't know as children. We don't know about our reproductive system and our organs and such. And we should know. Children can be taught consent as early as changing their diaper. May I? May I open your diaper? Can I open your diaper, please? Can mommy wipe? It's all consent. They know that you must ask to say this is inappropriate. Nobody should be doing this. Nobody should be doing that. Some conversations are hard to have, but the best conversations to have are with your children. Are with your children. These football teams, like our boys are being affected as well, and they are raised differently to not tell. Their private may have reacted and responded, and they may thought that, it's different. So it's not as much exposure to our young boys telling something's happening, something's going on. There's even times where these young people create relationships with their abuser. So it's a crazy dynamic, and it's our job to, keep them protected. Sis trying to come back. Petty Red is trying to come back in the building. See, there. Can you hear me? Got two of you in here. I'm going to remove. Okay, there you go. Hi, I can hear you. I still didn't hear no doorbell. Oh, Lord. Let's see what Mr. He said. He gonna log in when he get back. Let's see if it works for him. Yeah, because we be testing it out to see. You got to come in on Chrome though. But you in here, so I'm assuming you made it in. I can hear you. It's what Red said. She said the thing is parents today use the school as a babysitter, so they are hands off more. Yeah. I mean, yep, that's absolutely true. They gotta work. Society said we gotta go out and make this money. Bills is high, food is expensive. Car, gas, insurance, all that stuff is expensive. It adds up. Always at the bottom of my screen, I'll try to have influential Black American women to come across. So these are people that we should be, teaching our young children that are influential, have created paths and open doors for us as a people. And they should get much more light and shine and praise and honor than the stupidity that flashes across our screens, that it's highly promoted and, it's nothing but ignorance, sex, drama, and, toxicity. So you are what you watch. They say you are what you eat, right? They starting to be all what they watch. Stop letting them watch everything, exposing them to way too much. So yeah, it's a lot of books, children's books that are out there that, you as a parent may think is very inappropriate. So, I suggest when you go into the schools, I don't care what grade it is, you go in there and you look through. Be nosy. It's your job. It's your right to be nosy. To say, you know what, I'm going to come and join class on Thursday. I got a free day. So I'll try to come in, an hour before lunch, spend an hour in class, and then join the kids for lunch. See what's going on. See how the cafeteria staff is acting with the children. Are they kind? Are they being biased with certain children? Some mean ass people out there. And everybody does not have your child's interest at heart. I'm just saying, I've watched it. Lunch line and the kid ain't got no money and the lady is mean and nasty. Child can't get no milk. Get that baby a milk. What's wrong with you? My kids used to be like, Mommy, don't play. I ain't playing. Not when it comes to these kids. Not when it comes to these kids. They need to know somebody is protecting them. I met this one lady and she protected me. Like, I don't mind being that reflection that they look back and say, I wonder if she was an angel. Because I had people like that. Like, was that an angel? Snatch me up from out of there? Grab me up out that car? Yeah. It's all right. We're supposed to protect them. So that's what I'm here for. The grooming that's happening. I mean, it's vast. It's happening right in front of your face. And, we just don't even pay no attention to it. But this gentleman, he's exposing some of what's happening. I'm going to let him speak. So give me a second. Let me get him up here.
This is not a joke. I'm very serious. When we're going to review an article in Hot Air today, written by David Strom, called Harvard Med Students Learn How to Care for LGBTQIA+ Infants. It starts with, science tells us that infants, medical definition baby up to 1 year old, can have diverse sexual orientations, gender identities, and sex development. And how does he know this? Harvard Medical School teaches its students how to care for such infants in a culturally appropriate manner. Most people think that infants are learning what it means to have a body and aren't aware that sexuality is even a thing. But our practitioners of medicine know better and are thankfully aware that babies are highly sexual beings with strong physical sexual attractions to people of various types, or could even be longing to cut off their own peepees or breast. That's a quote. For instance, have you noticed that infants assigned the gender female at birth are strongly attracted to women's breasts? If you think about it, that means they're lesbians or at least bisexual. And infants assigned male at birth often play with their own peepees, and if offered the opportunity to notice their sperm donor parents has one too, they may even touch it if the opportunity arises. They too are very interested in and awful fondle breasts, implying their own bisexuality. Babies even resist wearing clothes. Another example, love latent queer identity. Add it all up, and there clearly has been a conspiracy to obscure the fact that all infants are gender nonconforming. At some point, this has to stop. We have to stop assigning sexuality to infants who don't even know, they're not even cogent of their own existence. Believe me when I say no one cares about your sexuality. No one cares about your sexuality. But the idea that you want to impose your belief of sexuality on others needs to stop. What are your thoughts?
Harvard. Mr. Kinsey and Mr. Money. Yeah, Harvard. One of the elite schools. This is what they are teaching now for people who will be educating or, medically caring for or psychologically dealing with your children, our babies. Like he said, they barely even understand their freaking existence. If we would go by our mindsets as children, just because of poverty and the stair-stepper ages that me and my brothers are, 47, 46, 45, 11 months apart, meaning we're twins for at least 2 weeks, almost 19 days, each of us. I didn't get girl clothing until, probably first grade, hand-me-downs from my cousin. Like, because of these things, it looked like she had 3 boys. I did not stare away from that. I absolutely identified with them, but it had nothing to do with my sexuality. I think women are beautiful, beautiful creatures, beautiful, love the energy and all of that, but it has nothing to do with sexuality. I'm not sexually attracted to women. So to be out here teaching these things, to young people, we say all these things that children are not capable to do. But when we start to discuss sexuality, wait a minute. Now it's okay. Hold up. They're not even allowed to consent to many other particular things until they're 18. But when we talk about sexuality, and nieces and nephews who never wanted to wear clothes or a diaper, so they want to be lifelong nudists. Stupidity. But this is Harvard. So the grooming it's up front. Watch out. Your children. Shame. Think these schools are doing something. Watch out now. Watch out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she keep coming back in. It's yeah. Mr. He Said is back in the building. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you being here. B9, that's right. Gucci diapers. What do you say? If your baby needs Gucci diapers, then man, yeah, it's out of control. We care about the wrong things.
Hey, Mrs.
Hey, sir.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm glad your presence is felt. Appreciate you coming back through the door.
What's poppin'?
Yes. What Death Mage says. Talking red.
It's a good conversation I see you having over here.
Thank you, man. Miss Blakely had me crying, talking about what she learned from the officers that happens to our young babies.
Right. But logically, you can understand, right? Because if a woman is assaulted and she's pregnant, then the baby's assaulted as well.
Absolutely.
So, they go hand in hand. But my thing is sexuality.
Right.
And we watched the movie Kinsey yesterday, and he did a lot of research, talked to a lot of people about sexuality. And is sexuality black and white? Like he said, we live in a society where we were taught the equation is simple: man plus woman equal baby.
Right. It was about reproduction, and that's where the Kinsey comes in. You know, he wanted to debunk that it should be for more than just, you know, you should just live it out. Whatever you want to do, you should be able to do. You know, take away the what do they call women like that? Prudes.
Yes. Sexual prudes.
Right. But, you know, he even went into as far as bestiality. Like it's come on. It should be some limits to the shit now.
Okay. Let's stop. Let's stay right there. There should be limits to sexuality. So you should be attracted to some things, but not all things.
Right.
Okay.
Especially if it's, you know, to, you know, someone who can't logically, realistically consent.
Okay.
So.
No, I hear you.
And in this, you know, government's mindset, it's 18. But as we know,
right,
you know, the rules ain't meant for everybody.
Okay.
Right. Because this has been happening. This has been happening before we had any exposure. We know that it exists. But to promote this man like he did something good, it's shameful. Because children were affected, you know, and two committed suicide. You know, well, one had a drug overdose and the other one committed suicide.
Right,
A set of twins that.
So, right, you're talking about the twins. They tried to do a
they tried to circumcise one, and it didn't work. Right, it went wrong.
I'm with you.
They said, let's just let him live his life as a girl. See how that happens. So scientifically, let's experiment on your child, and parents went for it, and they did, and he fought it the whole time. All of that, wanted to play ball, climb trees, and tell them, nope, you can't do this and do that. And then in turn, they actually had them, you know, implementing sexual acts with each other just to kind of force on the idea, you know, of accepting like it's going to happen, but it didn't work, you know? So, oh man. Definitely said, I will be in jail over mine. He said. Red and Deaf Mage going back and forth. I appreciate y'all keeping this, you know, discussion going in the chat. It's amazing what's happening. Red Lipstick Facts. I've been abused as a child and it messed me up to a point. It was hard to trust my husband around the kids when he was giving them bath time. I had to work through that. Absolutely. We don't even realize something as small as that it can create that, you know, knowing he's a good guy and all of that. Like there was fears. And I knew my husband wasn't that type, and I absolutely felt that. I did. You know, I got this. I got the diaper. You know what I mean? Especially if it's a poop. You know what I mean? I got to make sure I clean all in here and all there. So, you know, it was, Deaf Mage, same here. Same here. I appreciate you being transparent and letting us know. But yeah, we all carry these fears, reserves, all that. You know, so it will affect children later. It will affect them later, you know, and you never know how. So, you know, we need to be mindful.
Okay.
What you was about to say?
You put up a acronym, the MAPS, and, you know, that's something that you're strongly against. Do you think they should not be allowed in the sexuality existence? Or is there a place and a space for them or no?
I mean, they shouldn't be welcomed. Like it's acceptable that you prefer children, you know, and the LGBTQIA plus community is not for it. And they don't want them to be added to the collective.
Gotcha.
You know, because many of them don't agree, you know. So that's a whole nother dynamic of that.
So here's my question. Only certain type of sexuality should be allowed, or sexuality to a point.
Right. Now, to prefer is one thing, but to actually physically move on to the act of doing is something else. Okay. You can prefer it all you want. You know, we all know that pornography is not okay and people will get federal time for doing that. And you're just looking. Right. You understand what I'm saying? So physically, you know, asserting yourself in that manner to, you know, a child because it's your preference is jail. It's castration, in my opinion. You can prefer whatever. Some people like cats. Some people want to hump a car. You had a woman marrying a damn pool. So we know, you know,
So is that
The
okay?
difference is
it okay
okay
to marry a car? To
right,
marry
yeah,
a
because it's
pool?
not a physical thing. It's not a human creature. Now, if you're gonna hurt yourself by getting rust or cutting your, privates with,
Right.
whatever, that's on you. But when you are asserting yourself onto a youth, a younger person who cannot consent, no, that's not okay. We're not ever gonna accept that. No.
Okay.
The preference, you can have all you want. They're gonna be. It's always. So, I prefer dark-skinned men, but I look at light-skinned men. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I prefer men, but I look at women, think they're beautiful. Some beautiful ladies out there, but I don't prefer them sexually. Right. So, leave the babies alone. Something got to be going on psychologically. And, sometimes trauma is past. It may have happened to you. So you can have some psychological offs and think that it's okay or whatever the case may be. Like, and I just don't want it to always seem like it's just men, because women are out here messing with young boys as well. So, and young girls. So either way, pay attention to their asses too. Ask them hard questions, because you look somebody in their face and ask them, especially if you're leaving them around your children, don't be ashamed to ask. See how they react. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you got to throw it out there. I ain't afraid. Now when it comes to my babies, I'm going to ask. Shit.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm a little different. Maybe I'm just a little crazy, or, I think too logical. Right. Because, again, I just think sexuality is a spectrum. Mm-hmm. And although I don't agree with it, I understand it exists.
Yeah, me as well.
And I don't know where to put it at on, where on the map it gets placed. Mm-hmm. But I know that attraction is attraction. And I don't think, we could say it's okay for men and women to be attracted to each other, and it's okay for women and women and men and women, and then stop right there. Right. Now we have to stop. The party is at capacity. Nobody else can get in. That's when it starts to look a little like discrimination. Right. And it gets a little bit insensitive. But we live in America. I understand it, because I go to McDonald's and I get food, but I don't give them no tip. But I go to Applebee's and I get food and I'm expected to give them a tip. Yeah. Same situation, but just, American norms dictate how you move in this situation. And just like relationships, just like marriage, are we doing these things because America told us to do them?
All right, what came first, chicken or the egg?
And I'm not mad when, again, logically looking at it, America told me I need to be with one woman and settle down for some years and make some babies and create this existence. I know it takes work and it's a conscious decision, but this is what America told me to do. White picket fence, woman, kids, bam. So why should it be different? Again, America told me how to move in restaurants. Tip at Red Lobsters, don't tip at Burger King. America tells me how to move. So for people to say everything is so subjective and no, there's a way things are supposed to go.
That's right.
And when things start to go outside of that, like sexuality, oh, whoa. What you looking at that little kid for? If it's fair.
Right. I mean, no, of course it's not. But when you, when you exert yourself, when you assert yourself physically onto a child that cannot consent, it's wrong. You can prefer it all you want.
Right.
You know what I mean? I agree with that, because people prefer animals. There's people who like to have sex with animals. It's a preference. Do you, boo-boo? You know what I mean? But then that's we got to call the ASPCA, because animal cruelty. They cannot consent to that. You know what I mean? So where do we go with this? But either way, of course, it's always going to be the preferences. I have nothing against that. But when we start to hurt and affect young people with our preference, now we're moving into physically assaulting and putting it into action versus dreaming about it or fantasizing about it. It's something totally different, because now you're dealing with another human being who's not consenting, and we don't know how it's going to affect them. So fuck your preference and leave the babies alone. You can do anything else, but the little people,
gotcha.
Nah. And it's our job. It's our job to fight advocate, be proactive, if it happens, choke them to death. I mean, I'm all for all that. Deal with whatever consequences. I'll sit behind the jail and all of that.
Understandable.
So,
but you're making a conscious decision.
Make an absolute conscious decision.
His comment. See what that say?
Which one?
What that say? Mm-hmm.
Nah, forget all that. Discriminating.
I hear you. And then you go and tell everybody you're a good Christian, right? Let's go there. Everybody's so in tune with the Lord. They want a
Lord ain't say do no sexual acts with children, though.
Didn't, but I see a lot of them smacking
it's been happening
each other
before the
on
time.
booty. I see a lot of them laying up with murderers, scammers, jammers. They prefer dealers, killers, G's.
Right.
So how you so
leaving the children susceptible,
Christ-like, but yet you indulge in all of this devil's work, allowing sexuality to just take place in front of you. They free. If she want to be with her, he want to be with him, and then go to church and say you Christ-like.
That's where we are. We use it to our advantage.
So yeah, discriminating and absolutely judging.
No joke.
We do it.
Oh yeah. This one I'm willing to judge. Absolutely willing to judge and delete anybody for this cause.
Baby, delete.
I mean, it's real. I used to tell the kids that, like, young, we don't play with that. It's not something to play with. You don't know how people's gonna respond to you hurting their child. Not everybody's just gonna walk away. Not everybody's just gonna, call 911. You know what I mean?
I do.
So, what Def May says, I have 2 autistic children and one who can't really communicate. So I have to be alert 24/7. They will always be in my care. And if that ruins a chance for me to remarry again, oh well, I have to protect them. That's right. And that is a conscious choice that you are making. As a mother, as a woman, it is all good. Sure. Imagine how many women are not doing that. Or men. Because men allow women to come into their home with their children and abuse their children. So, it happens all around the board. We act like it's just men out here that's pedophiles. These women are big ass pedophiles too. So
and maps.
And maps.
You know why I jumped in and said maps? You know how many women I've heard say he gonna be cute when he get big.
Oh my goodness.
He my little boyfriend. Look at his hair. He's so
Same
fine.
thing.
That is creepy.
And I see a lot of that. A lot of little TikToks with the little boys and the friends is saying stuff, where if it was a little girl and the man was saying it, it's looked at differently. So you ladies, shame. Leave them little boys alone.
They got a word for women that are
MAPS, minor attracted people.
Over 40 and attracted to men in their 20s.
Cougar.
What's the word for
when
the
you
men
was
in
25,
their 40s
he
and
was
attracted
8.
to malleable women in their 20s? If a man say, I would love a woman in her 20s that's malleable. We seen a TikTok on that. Shame the shit out of it.
Yeah. It's shameful for a man to want a young thing. But for a woman, you go, girl. Shit, she 50 years old. She got a little 20-year-old girl. Y'all create this. We like the double standards that work in our favor. Y'all like it. Leave them little boys alone. Probably can't get a grown man anyway. They want you to have some class, some discipline with your damn self. Calm down, fuck down somewhere. What Def May say? It's Sunday. I'm cursing. I'm sorry. When it comes to kids, you nasty if you like kids.
Tell that to Elvis Presley.
I mean, and it was a thing when we was growing up. You had the young, they were in their early 20s and stuff, pulling up to the high school. I'm just saying, y'all might reflect on yourself a little bit. Y'all's out there trying to get them high schoolers.
They still watch Morgan Freeman
But do
movies.
we think a mentality of a 21-year-old who's still mentally 16 don't matter, right? You still grown. Have some discipline. Desensitized. All right, y'all. Let me get back on the topic.
No, I know.
I got something else to show y'all.
I'll go in. Are you ready?
So, it's always a push for profit, right? And this here, America. So just imagine, right? So when we have our transgender, I love, I got love for everybody. I'm not against, however people want to live their life, it's all good. But just respectfully understand that once you begin to transition, you are forever, ever going to need medical assistance. So you are forever indoctrinated to be in the medical field for whatever reasons, because you have to constantly get things checked. You're going to constantly need your hormones. You forever. So trans is a push for profit to the medical industry, which is one of the biggest industries here, right? I'm gonna say, I'm gonna put up there. So it's just I got a video of my trans gentleman telling you guys, giving you guys a little information about the push for the profit, because it's real. And if you don't know, he's gonna give you some information right now, and it's good. Got to pay attention to what's going on out here. So everything's about money. Everything's about money. So imagine these young people cannot consent to changing their body, but there's a lot that's doing it, before they're 18, and parents are paying for it. And then they want to detransition in their late 20s. So it's not always a successful thing. It's not always what they really want. So, do your research, push for profit.
Who earns out of this?
They get paid it's the big pharma, and it's the government, and they get about $1 million per surgeries I've researched. So I am now forever a permanent medical patient, and so will these children be if they put them on these things. They are creating permanent medical patients out of people. You can never stop taking hormones. Once you're on them, that's it for life.
So knowing a bit about testosterone and about bodybuilding and the Olympics and sporting and anabolic steroids, once you start messing around, arguably with nature, there's a huge price to pay. You seem like such a nice person. I've nothing but, the bravery and the courage. Do you regret transitioning?
I do, in a sense where I wish I knew what I knew now, because I feel like if I didn't have the pressure of the TRAs, because you look for the people who you think you can relate to, and sadly they're all very woke, and so they tell you things that aren't true. And so I feel like if I had honesty, if Gays Against Groomers existed back then, I feel like even though I am technically intersex, I didn't know I was intersex till I went through all the stuff. So I reckon I would have just been a tomboy.
You were intersex, you were a tomboy, but if there hadn't been an agenda, if things weren't being pushed, the socialization, the nurturing that we experience, it's just as powerful, potentially if not more, than nature. If things were different in a parallel universe, you and I might be having this conversation right now, and you hadn't transitioned, yes. You're living a completely different life, and you now don't get to have that life.
I agree with you completely.
What about censorship and cancel culture and trans activists, and indeed what you stand for, which we are in massive alliance with you on? What about the campaign pushing this? Drag Story UK and the sexualisation of minors, 3 years old, Labour-run councils throughout the UK allowed the individual to come in dressed in drag attire, and all the liberal mums and dads take their kids from 3 and up. How is that, in your opinion, how is that not socialisation? How is that not grooming? How is that not morally bankrupt, or is it?
It's grooming in every single way. Here's the thing. I'll put it with when they put the LGBT stuff in Disney and things as well, okay? If you put these mature themes, or these themes in general, in child things, you're getting them to think about a topic they may not necessarily have been thinking about before. You are forcing them to do this, and also it becomes a trend. I have had so many parents reach out to me. One of them said, both my kids told me they were trans. I said to them, what does that mean? And they said they didn't know. I've had so many parents doing this. Someone said their kid came home trans because their whole class is doing it. It is becoming an absolute trend, and the sad thing is the truth is being censored, and these people who are pushing this insanity are being propped on pedestals by the media, and it makes people think that that's the majority, what people think. And it's not, and it's dangerous for the gay community as well. It's very dangerous.
I heard what he said. He said it's becoming dangerous for the gay community. What y'all think of that? Push for profit.
She said it's for profit. Sis say yes. I agree. It is for profit. The notorious B9 checked in. He said no answers to my question, chat. What
question? Let me see.
Let's see. Here he is. I agree with all being said, but I have a question. Are your kids more important than your husband? Seriously?
Seriously?
Serious answers only. Here's what we're gonna do. That was a great question.
In this aspect, I would say yes, because I don't think my husband needs me to protect him from being raped or, molested or, someone stalking him, So in that sense, I don't think he needs my protection. So yeah, let's see what the Mister got to say.
You good. That was not a question for me. That was a question for the ladies.
Okay.
Because, are more important than your husband? That's the question. Are your kids more important than your husband, ladies? You guys take a second to think about that. Shout out to the notorious B9 for the amazing question. We're going to give the ladies to take a second to contemplate. You're going to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button for MrsSheSaid every Sunday. Shame Sunday.
Do some weightlifting before I answer this question. Get this.
Where the vibe is always shameful, but it's going to get you to where you need to be. So come on in.
Hopefully reflect
pull
a
up
little
a
bit.
chair and check out Shame Sundays with Mrs.SheSaid.
No, B9, know. No, they are not. They are just as important, but not more important. But when it comes to protecting them from pedophiles, yeah, they're more important. They need more protection than he does, in my opinion. So I need him to protect me, though. I'm just saying, when we out in the streets, I'm in the bathroom or something, So it's a world out there, man. It's something, and it's our first job as parents to protect them. So their protection before ours. Just walking with Madison, we went to the store the other day. We do live in Bmore. It's pretty dangerous here, so you got to be proactive, pay attention to your surroundings and such. So these are the conversations that we have when we walking in these streets. So it's a couple of gentlemen. Looked like it would have been something was across the street, and we on our side of the street. They just so happened to cross over right in cut of us. So, after they walked past, I definitely stopped her and let her know, like, if something was to go down and somebody was to attack us, I need you to run home. You understand what I'm saying? Like, and she really couldn't understand that. They didn't grow up in New York like us. It's not the same living. They've been very protected. So to have this full-on conversation and then come home and have her older siblings co-sign with what I say, because it's like, you come home, we're going to come out and, whatever the case may be to see what's going on. But to make her be alert and know what to do in case something happens, because most kids are going to stand there and they're going to scream and yell, and then we're going to leave them susceptible. And it is my job to protect her. I'll lose my life for my children. So yes, your job is to go and run home. So that's why you need to pay attention to your surroundings, because you're my legacy. It's meant for you to take my place. So, that's just how that should go. I just had to be a little transparent about that the other day, because every day is a teaching lesson, and we need to get back to that with our kids. We hand them off to these electronics, and they're being exposed to people watching them, and a lot of these people are computer experts, and they can get into your kid's system and talk to them and, have them do things and all of that. So just be mindful. I got a little friend that I'm talking to. Yeah, go look and vet, be nosy. Because you don't know who they're talking to. Could be a grown person on the other side of that, phone. Because it's happened. Little kids go missing all day. Every day on my feed, I see somebody else missing, somebody's child. Because we're not paying attention to what they're doing, allowing them to be fresh and grown way before their time. We know what that was when we was growing up. Your ass fresh. You grown. We got to get back to that. So they know that it's wrong. No, you are not allowed to be behaving this way, because that's how grown people behave. Are you ready for grown people consequences? Are you ready for that? I don't think so. They run around here stupid, thinking they're indispensable. Nothing can happen. Not me. Okay. It's very, very possible.
Okay, not me.
So, We got to make them aware of what's happening around them so they know how to respond. All right. I done rambled on a lot. I apologize. Whew, passionate about these babies, man. I got a video. I got to tell y'all a little something. Just, there's age identity now as well. So we have, some crazy, because now it's just getting crazy. When you open up Pandora's box, I mean, it's open and it's open wide because we have grown adults identifying as freaking children. And we, when I see the comments, the person is reliving their life and everybody wants to be accepted and I understand and all that. Yeah, no. You identify as 8, you should be home. I don't know, y'all. You tell me what y'all think.
I got you. In regards to the amazing question. Shout out to everybody checking in. Shout out to the answers. My wife is more important than my children. Emphatically. And of course, my goal is to protect. That's my reason for existence. But here's the thing. I can create other children. I can ultimately get another wife. But that hierarchy is in place for a reason. And my wife falls right under me. So, to protect our children is always at the foremost of our brain. But like I say, the best way, the only thing that you can give your children guaranteed is treating their parent amazing.
With some honor, love,
no matter
respect.
What they see, no matter what experiences they go through, they can always say, I look back at mom and dad and they did it a certain way. And if they have that blueprint in the back of their head, the decisions that they make moving forward are just that, they're decisions. Mm-hmm. But they have a formula. They have a foundation. Right. And I believe that, I'm always going to protect the children, but you are how the children became about. Me bumping into you started this life. And, although I love my children could grow up to be inconsiderate, ingrateful, just insensitive, moronic, idiotic assholes. And I think people do not look at the world realistically to groom people. They're so busy grooming their children. This is my child, that you don't see that this is going to be an individual person in society, not just your child. Right. And you need to treat them accordingly and as such. So when they grow up, they know to treat people the way people want to be treated, not the way they want to be treated. But here we go with the selfish, grandiose. It's all about me. But that's what was indoctrinated into you. Like you said, the children going to school was for the parents. Yep. If we could sit them in this class for 6 hours a day, we could get you to work for 8 hours a day. And again, I call cap because the people who love their kids the most is the same ones that sit them in a school for 6 hours and let other people teach them, other people care for them, other people feed them.
And then three activities a week.
So much. Right. You're lying. Because if you went to school, you know how school treats you. Sit down, shut up, learn this information, regurgitate it on Friday, and we don't care what the hell you do with it.
That's just the learning. That has nothing to do with the social aspect of it. The bullying, the likes, the not likes, the tally scores, all of it. The rating scale. It's a lot in school. The shaming.
And I'm going to the food. The food sucks. Ask your child about the lunch lady. Her attitude sucks. The women that attitude suck gonna be attitude suck in about 10 or 15 years.
We had nice lunch people when we was kids. I don't know. I think this nobody's happy. Everybody's unhappy because they're living in other people's reality because we get to see way too much of other people's shit. So our shit is not good enough. But being on, I've always told the children that their father is extremely important. He's more important than them because he was there before them and he will hopefully be here after them. You understand? We have a season with our children. They're going to go off and live their own lives. So yes, your father is much more important than y'all. Now, y'all are absolutely important to us as a whole. Don't think one is greater than the other, but yeah, he's definitely his significance, the importance of his emotional stability, the care that he receives from me is very important. And they need to see that. And I've told them that. So they're aware. You know what I mean? I appreciate the question. I hope I answered it for you. Yeah, it was. Because there's always a debate with people. It's not a debate. We chose each other and we chose to have these kids, and these kids are going to choose their own life. Like you said, we have to send them out to be able to cooperate. They're our children, but they're going to be somebody's friend. There's going to be somebody's girlfriend or boyfriend. There's going to be somebody's student. There's going to be somebody's employee. There's going to be somebody's boss, like somebody's patient. They need to know how to be able to interact with all these different beings besides just their mother and father. Because mother and fathers usually acquiesce a lot. Say no. It's okay. Their feelings will be all right. Oh, man. Yeah, so we're going to listen to this ageism and people identifying as different ages and
okay,
crazy.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Age fluidity.
Okay. I see where they're
my
going
goodness, they're going everywhere.
Again, baby girl, it's Pandora's box. You can't open it for one thing and then say it's not open for something else. So if someone can say, a man is someone who can be born as something different than what they identify as now,
I blame Jay-Z.
Why the same thing can't be for 30 being the new 20?
40 is the new 20. Remember that?
Shout out.
Right? Yeah. Damn, y'all, the box is open. I will be 46 years old and I identify as 46 years old.
No, that's right.
I'm just saying. None of us want to grow up. I don't think we really want to age. It's a fear. I think once you grow to accept that and live in reality of life and the life cycle, respectfully, it's healthy. Because we're all going to grow old. You're going to get gray hair. You're going to bald. Your testicles are going to drop low. Vagina walls might fall out. It's a lot of stuff that's going to happen, and the sooner you accept it and age gracefully, mentally, it's refreshing. Let me just say, because we all have a time limit and, you don't know when that is, the expiration date. Enjoy what you have now.
True.
Honor it. There's so many people without less. Like, you got to look at that. I'm able to walk, talk.
There go my sister.
Move around.
She identifies as a 47-year-old sweet pineapple.
Ooh, the sweetest of the sweet.
Shout out to all the pineapples in the building.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, we always were told you're only as old as you feel. Right.
Mentally you can stay young.
Absolutely. Right. Exercising, eating right, so on and so forth. But you see, that requires work right there. Mm-hmm. But just saying age is a social construct, kind of like Christmas. Remember when Black people used to say Christmas is a social construct? We're going to do Kwanzaa.
Or saying it just to behave like a child. Just enjoy those times of behaving like a child. I love it at times, when I can get down low with the kids and behave like a child. I'm still a grown ass woman though.
Right.
I just enjoy child fun with them, to see them enjoying it like I did when I was young. You know what I mean? So, the identity of it all, to go out into the world and this man got on wigs and he's a man, like identify as a 9-year-old little boy. You want to identify not only with the age, disrespectfully, a whole different sex. Like, are you living as a transgender woman? I think it's disrespectful to them as well. The people who are truly in these identities. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we can't take everybody seriously because some people are playing, mocking. Yeah. What my man B9 say? Sis said facts.
They cutting up in the chat.
Don't cut up. B9, you ask what you want. Okay, you on MrsSheSaid platform. You ask whatever the hell you want.
Women use their kids as an excuse to get rid of good men, or don't even give them a chance. That was the connection for me.
Oh yeah, I mean, if that's not the said person, that's the other parent, I can see that, but if you're even speaking in with the child's biological parent, yes, some conflict, and who knows what trauma the mama went through.
I mean, absolutely. And again, just to bring B9's, statement, question, all of it full circle, it's just the appreciation that's not shown. You know what I mean?
Right,
Again,
yes.
thank your mama for the cooking, so on and so forth. It's just not reciprocated. And I think if it was, we wouldn't even be having this conversation, because everybody would be equally important. But it's not a touche type of thing.
Right.
And that's, again, what makes me call cap, superiority, so on and so forth, is that on the negative side, it's always consequences thought out beforehand. It's always, consideration given to one side. And then when it comes to the other side, it's no touche. Right. Tell your mama the cooking was good.
When it comes to the man's side, come on now.
It should be a touche. Tell your father something too. But it's just tell your mama the cooking was good. And they go, thanks, mom, for the cooking. Mom don't say, well, let me stop y'all.
Yeah.
Thank your father for the plates and the forks and knives, or whatever the case may be.
Many of us were raised by the TV. Now, our children are definitely being raised by social media, but many of us were raised by TV, media, so it's kind of been trained to put women on this pedestal and, make her happy and you'll be happy and, don't consider y'all. I think of the music and all of that. It's always what you can do for us and how you're going to make us happy and all of that. So it's kind of, it's been trained and taught to us to not be that way with y'all. Y'all ain't human. You don't need me to compliment you. You don't need me to tell you, how wonderful you are. No.
Well, my all-time favorite. Nigga, you want a cookie?
What, you want a parade? Because you did something?
Doing what you're supposed to do.
Right. Y'all do get that. Yeah. Shame on us. You got to love up on these men, man. We're quick to put them on this beat down when they do something wrong, when they're not acquiescing, when they're not, following your rules and shit. But when they are good and they're doing the things that they're supposed to do, that praise is awesome. It kind of makes them motivated to do more. You know what I mean? The kids see that. The kids really need to see that, because you see these little conversations I've always heard over time, the kids prefer mommy and this and that, like, because daddy spews out all the damn compliments, like, kind of, creates this dynamic where one parent is more nurtured than the other, and generations of children not seeing daddy be emotionally connected and, pulled away. I mean, mommy is supposed to create that, I have to say, because it's a dynamic I've always maintain and tried to create, that they are fully aware of how much I love and honor and respect and want to nurture their father. Like, even when they thought he was loud and his tone was, mean or whatever the case may be, like, y'all don't, I respectfully understand that. And him as your father, you're not going to understand it. I mean, you just need to respect it and honor it in my eyes. You know what I mean? So it was always on me to, like, tell them. I would have to tell them how much I love him. So, that time when you create that dynamic, they get a better understanding, because if you're walking around with an attitude and you're not giving him praise or expressing to the children that he's appreciated for what he does and not just taking out the goddamn trash, be verbal, articulate it, be specific. They need to hear these things. They need to know why their father is appreciated. Their daddy is appreciated. Be intentional is so important. They need to see that, because they're gonna need to know how to act and be able to do that to somebody. They're gonna expect all of this kindness and consideration, and then they're gonna go out in the world and they're not gonna think that they have to give that to somebody. So be mindful, because they're not fucking princesses. They are young girls, and they're going to grow up to be grown-ass women. And it's not a guarantee that they are going to be sugar and spice and everything nice. So, you know, they might be out here alone for the rest of their damn life with a whole bunch of kids in tow, you know, just because they had no respect for the opposite sex. So, you know, something is on us, again, parents, to really teach that dynamic. A lot of kids are growing up in homes where we don't do nothing but shame the opposite sex, make it seem like they're not needed and necessary. So we really have to change that dynamic, even if they're not in the home. Because you can make that statement, you know, it would be so much easier if I had boop, boop, boop. Make that child know. It doesn't make you less than. Like, but you have to start teaching and training them up to know that men are needed and necessary. And they're very important, even if they choose later when they're old enough to consent and they prefer to not have a man, then, you know, so be it, whatever, it's on them. But at least create that dynamic of respect and honor for the opposite sex. Because we all got to exist here. Like, shit, a world full of women? Pfft. Oh my God. World full of men? Come on, man.
Damn.
Whew. Come on now. Stop it.
Ready?
Yeah, let's get it.
Is now the #1 cause of death in the African American community.
Heart disease.
Oh, HIV/AIDS.
Diabetes. Cancer. AIDS.
I'll say heart disease. AIDS.
From what I heard, it's probably AIDS, you know.
Probably heart disease. I think heart disease.
HIV. Gang violence.
What if I told you the real answer was abortion?
Since 1973, legal abortion has killed more African Americans than AIDS, cancer, diabetes, heart disease, and violent crime combined. Every week, more blacks die in American abortion clinics than were killed in the entire Vietnam War. And the largest chain of abortion clinics in the United States is operated by Planned Parenthood.
We have now reached a point in this country that African American women, though they make up 12% of the population, they account for 37% of the abortions. An African American baby is almost 5 times more likely to be aborted than a white child. The abortion industry at this point kills as many African American people every 4 days as the Klan killed in 150 years. And you can truly say the most dangerous place for an African American to be is in the womb of their African American mother.
You're gonna let that sink in. Deletions. We have deleted tribes relentlessly. Planned Parenthood is, man, it's a disaster. And we have no shame. We have no shame in teaching and breaking that cycle with our young girls. It's still happening from when I was young. Because we was young, 15, 16, pulling up to the deletion place. And it's still happening. So it's showing me that we're not guiding, we're not teaching, we're not making, this knowledge important and accessible to the children. Last week, Sunday, again, I did a whole show on vaginal health, reproductive system. And these young girls having this knowledge is so important for them and their mind and their reflection of self and who they are as females. I think about the lesson me and Maddie had. She's 8. And what I showed y'all, I showed her. And she was crying at times. Brought her to tears. The beauty of ovulation, fertilization, like the basic anatomy of our bodies, like just knowing all that information. The child was in tears. She had a lot of questions. It was a beautiful moment. I wish I would have recorded it, but she was crying. I'm like, why are you crying? She was just like, it's magical, you know? And it is. It is miraculous to get that egg to be fertilized and see it through for toes to be touching the ground. It really is, truly. So imagine if young people, you know, boys and girls, were getting this information about the anatomy of their body and how it works first before we start digging and diving into sex and sexuality and such, when they don't even know who the hell they are. They have no idea. They don't know the difference between their esophagus, their liver, their kidneys, or anything. Okay? The hip bone connected to the pelvis bone. You remember that? They don't know that no more. Not teaching that. Oh my goodness. So knowledge is power, and knowledge will create, you know, better mindsets for these children to make better decisions for themselves. So parents, you know, when we're looking for things to have them watch and stuff, find something educational. You know, subscribe to all of the educational things that, you know, and put it in a playlist that this is where they can go. This is where they can navigate. So at least you know they're getting some type of knowledge, you know, to help them get through this world as an adult. Oh, man. What Def Mage said, I wish I could come up. I don't believe in deletions, but since being in these spaces, I'm so confused on what dumb men talk about, or what the men talk about. On one hand, they shame the women for having the deletions. It's not even shaming them for having the deletions. It's shaming for putting yourself in a situation where you have to, you know, require marriage so it won't have to be such a hard decision. And on top of us having, you know, 33 forms of birth control. And the main one is not allowing access to some sorry, stupid ass nigga that ain't going to take care of his seed. You understand what I'm saying? So it's kind of on us the whole way around, because they can't get access without us giving it to them, you know, and enforcing a man into, you know, a fatherhood that y'all didn't say you were going to have. It's never been discussed. And he, you know, exclaims it's not something he wants, and you continue on with it. He don't have no rights. And now he's forced into a lifetime with you. And let's see how that's going to work out. You know, so again, teaching our young girls about their anatomy is very important, because they'll understand the true consequences behind this. And this is not something to play with. Like, our wombs are so sensitive. Our reproductive system can get screwed up with one bad act. And they need to be aware of that. They need to be aware that their eggs are aging just as fast as they're aging. So if you're 8, your eggs are 8. If you're 35, your eggs are 35. You're locked in. And if you're down to the ones that are not working correctly, then you're going to have to deal with that. So the more they know, the better they'll be at making decisions. As far as our young boys too, they need to know this information, their anatomy. They need to know a female's anatomy and how it works, so they know what they're getting themselves into. Because now we get to a point where these girls don't even know how to clean their damn vaginas. Because to have constant men say, you know, there's no cleanliness in the females, and have women co-sign with it too, who are lesbians, it's a problem. That's a lack of teaching. That's a lack of training. That's a lack of guidance and modeling from us women. We walking around with stinky crotch and not teaching our girls to, you understand what I'm saying? No, we got to do better. We got to hold ourselves accountable, because this cycle is continuing. It's a damn shame. We've deleted tribes since Planned Parenthood has been in. We make it an option for our girls. We make that an option before we tell them making marriage an option. It's not even something they want. They're not aspiring to it. They have no purpose for it. They can barely get along with us. So how can we send them out into the world to get along with other people, especially the opposite sex? Knowledge is power. And if they don't know, they are not going to act right. Mm-hmm. Oh, child, don't worry about the chat. Y'all better not come for Death Mage. I'm going to have to come see y'all. She said it's hard to verbalize my thoughts to the chat. I hate it so much. Oh, they hear you. They hear you, sis. They hear you. Look, she said, yes, sis. What Death Mage say? It's like that. It's like they hate deletions, but if they get a woman pregnant, they want her to have one. So I'm like, what? Yeah, and it's all different. It's different for each. We can't, place them all in the box. I think some men express it off top. I don't want no relationship. I don't want this. And then the act happens and it happens. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of women don't be listening to what the men are saying when they saying it. They hear what they want to hear.
I think that
I've seen that a lot.
Right. It's kind of seeing the trees through before the forest or the forest before the trees, however you want to put it. But it's not that, we hate women that get deletions. But if a woman gets pregnant, then we want her to have one. No, not at all. We would love to have the child and continue to go down the road of life with the woman we had the child with, but it's the attitude, the superiority, and the control that is displayed once a woman gets pregnant and further on.
Right.
That is insensitive. And rather than continue to acquiesce, bend over backwards, try to keep the peace, be the bigger person, continue to fight. I think that's the most popular term women like to use. Fight for your own children. Instead of doing all of that, men say, listen, we don't get along and we're not willing to change. So we shouldn't have a baby together.
Right.
And the minute a woman hears that, that's the absolute reason to have the baby. And this is where the fight comes in.
I'm going to control the dynamic.
And like you said, 33 forms of birth control. Every woman that gets pregnant don't have to have the baby. But that's what it sounds like to me in these spaces, that what you got into when you put your thing inside of a woman, what could happen. Yeah, I do know what could happen. Climax, pregnancy, abortion, adoption,
infection,
all of those. So how come we always jump from just, the consequences, you had sex with her, you got to take care of a baby, but a baby don't have to reach the earth. And if we don't agree, and if your attitude is shitty, if we are going to be terrible parents, if we're going to be horrible relationship coexistensers, we need to not have this baby.
Right.
But the minute we say don't have the baby, that's the green light to have the baby, because it's your body, your choice.
Right. And we pick and choose. It's like, I don't believe in deletions, but you don't believe in marriage either? You say they taking them Plan Bs like it's vitamin B. You're not lying, because they sell them in the dollar store. You don't even have to go to the pharmacy. I posted that like last year. I couldn't believe it. I was sitting right up at the register with, it wasn't even no pregnancy test. I think it was like the drug screening test, marijuana test, dollar store. I think I have a picture in my phone. So it's not even called Plan B. It was called something B, but.
Got you.
And ladies don't even know what it's doing to your body. Majority of us don't know what the birth control is doing to your body. The IUDs getting stuck up in there. Like, come on now. We got to teach them. I think if we teach them and give them more preparation, they'll do better. But we're so consumed with the idiot boxes and social media and the TikToks and things like that. Isn't it something going around? They're trying to ban TikTok. Isn't something happening right now? So
it's definitely banned on all, government devices, and you shouldn't be using it at work and so on and so forth. So it's just a trickle method. It'll trickle down, to where it needs to get to.
Because America's starting to see shame, and in other cultures, they don't promote the stupidity that we promote. The things that get likes here in the US of A is not the same over there. The STEM, the kids, instruments like musicians, tech stuff, coding, all of those things, they get a lot of shine on their TikToks and they get all the exposure, and those are the influencers. But here we got idiots fighting, trauma, drama.
True indeed. We do.
Block them. Again, you control what your kids are watching and seeing. Let's see, I got another video in here. We're closing up, y'all. It's Sunday. That's the reality of some of our kids. Wonder where they learn it from.
My friend, go clean this room.
Make me.
Okay. My friend, go clean this room.
Make me.
My friend, clean this room.
Make me clean the room. And I don't care what you call me.
My friend, clean this room.
Nope.
My friend, clean this.
God bless the baby. And the little baby, you saw the little baby sitting behind the big one, getting all up in the adult's face and phone. I don't care, you recording me. This is how they become desensitized. There's so many things that's on these social medias that's creating trauma in households. There's memes and such that's teaching the kids to get their way with their parents, and in that aspect of hurting themselves, controlling the dynamic in the home by doing certain things. So you really got to be mindful, because some kids can be misbehaving in order to get a particular type of attention, because it actually told them the guideline of, if they do this, you're going to do that. And then if they do this or that, then you do this, because you can get them to do that. And then in the end, you can get what you want, and you can control your parents by trying to delete yourself, attempting to delete yourself. It's amazing. That child was probably what, 8, 9? Stop allowing yourself to allow these children to lose control young. They come as a blank slate. They have a lot of DNA characteristics, of course, but a lot of their training comes from what they see, what we teach them, you know, what they hear, the modeling of behaviors, attitudes, smiles, mean face, all of that is molding them. I couldn't even imagine my child, any of my nieces and nephews, behaving in that way. So you grow up with a lot of love and a lot of nurture, and I got to discipline or pop you. That's what's going to happen. And that's just how they grew up. So when you get to a certain age and I know you can comprehend what I'm saying, I shouldn't have to pop you. It should be that level of respect and honor that they have for us, that they won't do that, or they have some type of fear to know that there may be some consequences besides getting something taken away or a timeout. Like Mr. said, they don't know the strength of the father. You know what I mean? I can take you out with one punch. So that fear is needed to some degree. And if there's no man in the house with all that disrespect, that little baby behind her about 3 years old is going to be right up, they're going to be jumping her. It's amazing. Our grandparents are defenseless because they're raising the damn latchkey kids that their kids leave behind, and they're beating them up. It's happening. Shame on y'all. Kids are out of control. Have some damn consequences. Stop giving them everything. Make them work for some shit, some chores, cook, laundry, something. And I think we pacify them because we feel like we did too much as kids. Some of us do that, huh? We had to do too much. We had to be too independent, and then we overindulge our children. They don't do nothing. They barely know how to wipe their ass. But this is what we creating. That young child is going to grow up and be a grown woman. She's going to be on somebody's couch or behind somebody's bars.
Make me.
Make me. Oh. When Ruthless Media said I couldn't even get a chance to talk back. And I agree. I was the baby. So I watched the elder ones get it, you know, sucking the teeth or any of that, rolling eyes. Any of those little mishaps gonna get you. You might have a little busted lip, a quick pop. Nobody got abused, but you're gonna know that is not okay. Not how grown you think you are. So, you know, I respect y'all for them little pops, and you had to whoop my ass. Thank you. Kept me in line. There's a certain level of respect that you need to have for authority, because when they get out in that world, man, police and other strangers are not going to be as kind and empathetic to your assholeness or whatever. So, you know, whew. Yeah, I got a video. We're going to end it on this note, because just because you have a womb and you're capable to bring some children into this world does not make you a good mother. We need to start putting bad mothers on shame, front street. You a bad mother, you a bad mother. You're not doing good with your kids and your little crew you got behind you. Somebody need to shame your ass. It's not okay. We do it to the men all day. You'll tell a man to his face he ain't a good father. He walk away from his kids, but women do it too. Our social service system would not be full. You heard what that video was. We are deleting like crazy. We have been doing it over the last 40, 50 years. Our communities would be so big. But we're careless. And the shame comes from the carelessness, and we blame men all the time. No, we give the access. We decide that these children come to life, even when we know the situation is not good. You know the situation is not good, but we still do it. And that's on us. And we need to start owning that shit. Can't keep blaming everybody else, because mothers are out here deleting their kids that are in their womb, as well as deleting them that's been brought to life in existence, and they're taking their life. But y'all don't want to talk about that. But I'm going to show y'all a video.
I am here to do some good old-fashioned slut shaming. Yeah!
Make an impact statement. I actually want to make a statement to them.
As expected, the mom who admitted to brutally murdering her 2 children was not short on words. This time, speaking to Alexander Dorsey, the only father of one of the surviving kids, inside the courtroom.
They haven't seen them how long? Since 2006. Alexander Dorsey went from 2008, 9, and 10 without seeing his daughters.
Blair again ripping up the fathers of the surviving children who they are seeking custody of.
And they want to talk about how they loved my daughters. Now they want to be front and center, but they was always in the background.
As a mother, one of your primary responsibilities was to protect your kids. And in that respect, you failed in the worst possible way.
And Judge Dana Hathaway wasted no time in making her ruling.
You're therefore sentenced to the Michigan Department of Corrections for the rest of your life without the possibility of parole, meaning, of course, that you will never get out.
But like so many in the community, she articulated her disbelief and horror of what this mom has done.
Despite what happened to you when you were a child, you had the opportunity to grow up.
True.
You had the opportunity to become an adult. You had the opportunity to make your own decisions with respect to running your own life. And you were blessed with 4 children. Stoney and Stephen are never going to have that.
That was a mother who deleted her children. And in sentencing, she ended it on a note of deflecting and, you know, trying to blame the fathers for not being around and being absent. And then she also, you know, at the end, that's why the judge was saying, you know, you went through some stuff when you was young, you got through it, you made it to adulthood, but your children are not going to be able to do that. So again, we come into adulthood with all this trauma and all these things that we have never dealt with, reflected on, can't get past and get through. And then we choose to bring children into the world. And you don't know emotionally, mentally, hormonally, how that's going to affect you. There is not a guarantee you are going to be a good, great parent. But it was so much deflection there. And it's amazing. She took her babies' lives for whatever reasons. And still wouldn't hold herself accountable. Want to deflect and put some blame on the other parent. It's amazing. And you wouldn't believe the comments of people empathizing with her shit. Empathizing with it. Somebody would have just helped her. If somebody would have, yeah, you shouldn't have had none. We got to think way before that. Show these young girls the situations that they can get themselves into. They need to be exposed to that kind of shit so they know, oh, yeah, well, I don't want to, you know, some purpose. Have a marriage mindset because a father is needed. Another parent helping hand, a whole nother family dynamic is needed and necessary for these children. Teaching them hot girl summers and get the bag and, get the child support, your body, your choice. Yeah, his sperm, his damn choice too. Like, we need to stop it. That's going to be my shirt.
This lady tweeted, never, I repeat, never marry a man raised by a single mother. But I'm going to need y'all to see these comments, though. Wasn't Barack Obama raised by a single mother? Yes. Yes, he was. Man, I tell you, women keep other women single. Stay woke, ladies, and think for yourselves. Period. Marrying a man with 2 parents don't guarantee anything either. Trying to tell you, but y'all think y'all know every damn thing. What? Now, if people say don't marry a woman who was raised by a single mom, everything would be in shambles. He ain't lying, honey. The internet would be in flames, child. For My Two Love says, so that means millions of men aren't deserving of a relationship and or love for a situation that's not their fault? Yeah, I guess that's what she's saying. That means that all of us ladies who are already outnumbering men are going to be fighting for the 30% of black men that are left. No, sir, not me. And the most important one, spreading these types of toxic, harmful, and generalized statements is distasteful. Do better. Signed, a proud black family therapist. Now, ladies, I know we want to be heard, but we have to stop coming online, projecting the issues that we have endured and pushing them on other people. Now, obviously, there are certain situations where there is the rule versus the exception. But when it comes to judging people solely off of circumstances that they had absolutely no control over, isn't one of them. And the reason that it's so harmful is because people will literally base their entire life off of what's said on social media.
Shit, that says more about them. You need to know self. Social media should not be able to dictate that. Sounds like people are not living in a reality. Yeah, but all of that that's true. It is a switcheroo when it comes to the men. Always. What do y'all think about that? What do you think?
I wouldn't disagree. Only because, again, in totality and what you're saying, just the consciousness that we all need to have, the appreciation we all need to show should be reciprocal, should look like 50-50, 100-100, whatever you want to put a number on, but it should always have that equality somewhere around it. And then it's just, not looking like that, whether it's sexuality, whether it's,
equality in man doesn't even sound like it goes right together in this society now. But yes, men deserve to have equality. And again, I think I make this statement a lot. I don't think we think they're human. So I'm going to get their biology together and their anatomy and how they work a little bit and see if I can pull that together for y'all. And those videos I would say are made for children. I might have to go in and change it. But, as you as parents, you can decide to sit down and watch these things with them, because it's important for them to know how valuable, just the human anatomy is, how important it is. And if they know how important self is, they'll know how important the opposite sex self is. And it'll be a mutual respect. But right now, I don't think our children are growing up with any type of mutual human kindness, let alone respect. So, it's on us to do a better job. When you know better, you try to do better. So hopefully y'all are watching this and reflecting a little bit and looking to do a little better so they can do a little better. Shit, because we're going to be old. And these are the people that's going to be responsible for us. And they're very selfish and self-absorbed. They really don't care. They just want your money that you leave in your bank account or your life insurance. So, hand you off to the elder home where they're abusing and molesting and doing the same things there as well with the elders. Like, we got to take care of our families, man. We got to get back to that. Nurturing and loving up on our families and being concerned about their well-being in every aspect. So this is where we coming. This is where I'm coming 2023, man. Y'all need to wake the fuck up because they want your baby. for themselves, sell them off, organs. You see what it is. This is the world we're living in. And, you know, by all means necessary, it's your job to protect them. You know, y'all know I appreciate everybody being here. It's Sunday. We got to get some dinner going. It's the King's birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Well, his celebratory day that they choose on a said Monday for his birthday. But we will be celebrating for Dr. King. And, you know, this man was about peace. And we need to get back there. But when it comes to family, we got to get on the Malcolm note by any means necessary. Knowledge brings wisdom. Wisdom brings understanding. Shout out to the Harris Tribe Media Group. We here is 2023. He said, she said, love and abundance. We'll be back here Thursday with some awesome segments. See how that go. And, you know, we wish you guys a great week. People who got the day off, shout out to y'all. Enjoy your day. You know, give a little love, a little kindness to somebody around you. And look out for the elders out there. I had an elder I had to take care of the other day. And it ain't cost me much, a little $5 and some change. At the register, struggling, got a long line and just all discombobulated. I'm like, what she need? I got it. Put that in your bag. I got you. You take care, you know, and just that act of kindness, just the people in the store are not used to that. They're not used to that. So it shows, you know, and who knows how happy I made her, you know. So I appreciate you. My elders, I hope y'all look out for me when I get old. That's all I'm saying. Deaf Mage, I love you, love. I hope all is well. I'll see you soon. I'm always be in your inbox looking for you if I don't see you. You know that, right? Ruthless Media, peace to you, brother. Sis, we're going to have to check these Edie Muck's settings back here to see why I couldn't get you in or keep you connected. But I appreciate you trying to pop in on me. I'm going to give you a call in the back chat. We can chat it up a little bit. But everybody have a great week. Be kind to someone that's not yourself. And ladies, let's try to really start teaching our young ladies how important men are. We know there's some bad seeds out there, but we can't keep continuing to create that reality for them when they have never experienced it. You know, so gonna get some lessons on how to do that. So keep a watch, like, subscribe, share with anybody you think would, you know, enjoy this content. You know, I appreciate you guys, and I'll be back next week. Love and abundance.
Everything in creation and in physical form has its own fundamental resonant frequencies.